Incredible scenes in South America last night. This was a game between Brazil and Argentina. It had to be suspended. Joining us now to tell us a bit more about this is talkSPORT South American correspondent Tim Vickery. Good morning, Tim.
Morning, Tim. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm trying my best to be careful out there, but there's a lot of strange things going on.
Tim, you better believe there's a lot of strange things going on. I picked up my phone to have a recap, as I do in the morning, just if there's anything happening overnight, any news. Mm-hmm. And I was met with the news. Meeted's not the right word.
I was meted.
It wasn't meted at all. I was met with the staggering news that there was health officials on the park.
Yeah. After 5 minutes and 10 seconds, they were very intense. 5 minutes and 10 seconds. There are a fair few tackles flying in.
Yeah.
At least we got something for our money. Right. Well, it was obvious there was going to be a problem the day before Saturday, because 4 of the Argentina squad are based in the UK, and the Premier League players, Buendia and Martinez of Villa, and Lo Celso and Romero of Tottenham, and just as Brazil is on the red list for the UK, so the UK is on the red list for Brazil. So any non-Brazilian who's been in the UK over the last 14 days has to enter a period of quarantine when they arrive in Brazil. Now, the 4 Argentines, when Argentina played a World Cup qualifier in Venezuela on Thursday, flew to Brazil Friday morning, and it seems that the 4 Argentines didn't declare that within the previous 14 days, they had been in the UK. But it was very, very easy to prove. You just looked at who was playing in the Premier League, So from this point, it was clear we were going to have a problem. And the Brazil's health authority on Saturday were already kicking up a fuss about this. Now, the Argentine point of view is that it was all clear. It's all covered. Football has kind of got a free pass, if you like, in South America. And even when the pandemic was raging out of control, you still had free movement of players to play international club games and World Cup qualifiers, and it was all agreed by the health ministries all around South America. But it seems that this doesn't extend to those who've been in the UK. Different situation. And Argentina, backed up by the South American football authorities, thought they were in the clear to play these players. On 3 of those 4 were in the starting lineup. Buendia, poor old Buendia, is not even on the substitutes bench. He's watching from the stands. So we've got this situation, and you kind of think, it's all going to blow over. It's going to end up in a compromise. The game is going to go ahead. There might be a bit of shenanigans back at the airport afterwards where these players are interrogated or so on. Didn't happen at all. After 5 minutes and 10 seconds, 4 jacketed officials of the Anvisa Sanitary Authority wandered onto the field, wanting immediately to deport those Argentine players who are based in the UK. And the position of Argentina is, if we can't play them, if we can't go on with them, we ain't playing. So they went back to the dressing room, which I think is probably a position that any football team would have taken.
Yeah.
So they go back to the dressing room. It fairly quickly becomes clear that we ain't going to get a game. It isn't going to happen. Argentina then go off after staying at the stadium for a long time. They go off to the airport. That the players concerned are not deported, and that was a fear in the Argentina camp, that they would be deported straight back to the UK. Instead of which, probably round about now, they'll be arriving in Argentina. They've got another World Cup qualifier. They're at home to Bolivia on Thursday. But what happens to this game is anyone's guess, because Brazil are saying Argentina should be docked the points because they didn't want to go on with the game. Argentina are saying Brazil should be docked the points because they're responsible for the spectacle and it didn't happen. It's very difficult to think of another date where this game could be staged. So it's a real problem, and it's FIFA's problem to deal with.
Tim, you're saying it's FIFA's problem to deal with, and I get that, and I understand it, and I respect it. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking here, Argentina, am I right in saying the game, was it the Thursday night they beat Venezuela 3-1 in Caracas? Right, so they've got a game against Venezuela in Caracas on Thursday. They win 3-1. Now, this is a problem that everybody can see is coming. This isn't something that's just arrived in the plate of the Argentinian FA or the Brazilian FA or FIFA. So surely they're all a little bit culpable here.
Oh, no doubt about it. I don't think there are any good guys in this story. It's a problem, to be honest. This is a problem, and all of the problems with the European clubs, from the moment when they decided to go ahead with the Copa America in June and July, we were already getting into difficult territory. Remember, firstly, that was an extra Copa. It's the second extra Copa since 2016 and the fourth Copa since 2015. So you're gonna have too many of them. In sporting terms, it wasn't necessary. Secondly, a lot of the players and coaches made it very clear that they were playing the Copa under protest. Especially the Brazil players. Now that wasn't only because of the pandemic; it was also because they could see the problems, and they thought that that time in June and July, you've got the players together. They should be spending that time getting up to date with World Cup qualifiers. We didn't do that, and that meant that coming out of the Copa America, we still have 12 rounds of World Cup qualifiers to fit in and not enough FIFA dates to do it. Now, FIFA came to South America's rescue. Firstly, it invented a new FIFA date at the end of January. And secondly, the FIFA dates this month and next month, it's extended by 2 days to allow the South Americans to have 3 games rather than the usual 2. And that caused a lot of problem with the European clubs because the players won't be back. Usually it ends on Tuesday and the players are back by Thursday, Friday. Now it ends on Thursday night. The players won't be back until Sunday, Monday. So we got into problems. We had no margin for error as soon as they decided to play the Copa America. And to go ahead with a global competition like the World Cup qualifiers, because the South American players, they're based all over the place. Lots obviously are based in Europe. Some are based in Mexico. Others have been based in China. So the sensible thing to have done would have been use that time in June and July to catch up on World Cup qualifiers. Once we didn't do that, we were clearly in problems with no margin for error, and we've now hit that error.
Tim, put my scepticism to bed here, right? Brazil, am I right in saying we're without about 8 or 9 key players for that Argentina game? Would that have had any bearing on their health minister? Or am I just being ridiculous here?
I think from the point of view of Brazil's coach, I don't think he minds that much. Remember, Brazil, 7 games, they've won them all.
Yep.
So we're not yet halfway through the qualification process. And Brazil have almost already got enough points to qualify. So, they've got nothing to worry about. Also, 9 Premier League players that they haven't got. A few of those would be first choices. All of them can be replaced.
Yeah.
They got, they're without the 2 goalkeepers, Alisson and Edison. They got a terrific goalkeeper back home, Weverton, who stepped in away to Chile, had a great game. Mm-hmm. Who else are they missing? Well, Fred of Manchester United. But a lot of the supporters are very happy that he's not available and he's not been called up. The 3 up front, Richarlison of Everton, Firmino of Liverpool, Gabriel Jesus of Man City. Again, all can be replaced, and the fans have been quite happy that other players have stepped in. There aren't too many in the Brazil side who you think we can't do without him. One of them is Neymar. And the other is probably Marquinhos, the Paris Saint-Germain centre-back, who's one of those centre-backs who's so good you hardly notice him. He's an outstanding centre-back. He's wasted, I think, at Paris Saint-Germain, and he was suspended for this game. But I don't really think Brazil were from a point of view of the team, I don't think they were particularly bothered. They've got such strength in depth that they could have played this game no problem at all. So if there is some conspiracy to stop Brazil playing Argentina in these circumstances, it hasn't come from the squad.
Tim, a very quick one. When these players come back, then the ones that we know have been released for the Premier League, even Bendia, the likes of those guys, a keeper. Do we expect that they're going to have to do the isolation back here? Because that was what the argument as well was in the first place, wasn't it? To allow them to go, the club's not wanting them to leave. They're going to have to come back and do that isolation in the UK as well.
Yeah, unless they send them to somewhere else. They send them to Spain or Croatia or something like that, where they can spend some time and they can train, because that's a vital thing. It's 10 days in a hotel room. You can't train, you lose your physical condition. So I think the plan is to send them somewhere else where they can keep training and then come in without quarantine. There was one in another game. It was terrific. Davinson Sanchez of Tottenham, who's over. He spent the last few minutes of the game trying desperately to pick up a yellow card. Because if he gets a yellow card, he's suspended from Thursday's game and he can already fly back, and Tottenham will be happy about that. So what he was doing, every set piece, every free kick or every goal kick, Davo would go and take it, and he would spend half an hour over it, until in the end he tried the referee's patience. He got his yellow card. Davinson Sanchez is out of Thursday's game and will already soon be on his way back to London.
You've got to respect it in a way, haven't you? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Tim, for that. You've cleared a lot of things up, even though it's clear and it's still bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely to chat to you, Tim. We'll speak to you again very soon.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Look forward to it. Cheers. Thank you.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday morning 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.